on Larry King Now, the unstoppable William Shatner.
But the idea is to make you laugh, and then shortly thereafter make you cry, and then shortly thereafter make you observe, and then involve you. There's all kinds of
It's an
things.
evening with Bill.
It's an evening with me. There was an insanity that went on in the first 2 years of the making of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was crazy. I know a 15-year-old who can take a computer apart. I don't know how a computer works, do you?
No idea.
What is it attached to? How does it get its signal?
How do they do that?
How do they do that?
Plus,
This wounds me. I shall chew upon this rage.
all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Always a great pleasure to welcome the great William Shatner, actor, director, musician, producer, author, and irrepressible spirit. His critically acclaimed one-man show, Shatner's World, is coming to theaters for a one night only, April 24th. Tickets are available at fathomevents.com. What is this? You're here, but you're in movie theaters.
Well, see.
What is this?
Well, a guy in Australia some time ago said, would you like to do a one-man show? So, you know, every performer, the one-man show, wow, that's like the thing.
Epitome.
The epitome. And the other part of that is, if you fail in Australia,
Who cares? Who knows?
both of those. So I did it and was successful. I toured Australia. I revamped it. I toured Canada.
This is what you do. You do what? You talk about your life?
Well, more. It's, you know, I tell stories. There's music. There's all kinds of
It's an
things.
evening with Bill.
It's an evening with me, and there's lots of visuals going on. But the idea is to make you laugh, and then shortly thereafter make you cry, and then shortly thereafter make you observe, and then involve you. And through this web of words, which you do all the time, you involve the audience to the point, at the end, frequently they'll go, "Aw," that great sound of it's come to an end. And then they stand and applaud. And the tears, the emotion that comes over the footlights is enormous. I've done that and on Broadway, toured, filmed it. So in movie theaters, 700 movie theaters across the country, one night only, April 24th, this Broadway show for the price of a movie ticket. You'll see a Broadway show.
That's a great idea. Is it 2.5, 2 hours?
2 hours.
Yeah. Were you a little concerned, or Australia worked? That
Concerned?
Yeah.
Concerned.
Concerned. You're rolling dice here.
You're rolling dice with, if not literally your life, with a great deal of your life. Imagine opening in New York, and it has happened to me, where they say, the worst thing I've ever seen.
I know.
Or bad. Or
Did you get wrapped?
No. Critically acclaimed. It was fantastic. But what happened on opening night was the night before, my wife and my friend of mine went out to eat, and they ordered fish. And I said, I'm not eating fish. I've got a big show to do tomorrow. My life is at stake tomorrow.
If you get sick from fish.
Right. So I ordered steak, because my life was at stake. I ordered hamburger, just pure steak. So I got sick, and they didn't. And I'm sick for the Broadway opening.
So what happened? You couldn't work?
Well, no. You have to work. So I'm out there, and I'm thinking, someday in the future, I'll be on the Larry King Show and be talking about this. So I've got to take a historic point of view.
You thought about me. I knew you did.
About you. So I got through. In fact, at one point I said, I gotta stop here. There's a technical glitch, and I had to run to the toilet and come back. And
I toured and did a comedy show where I just tell stories. Not 2 hours, but about an hour and 20 minutes. Just
there you go.
It's a great feeling to
It's a great feeling when you're finished and they love you.
I'm comparing yours, I guess, to Billy Crystal's 700 Sundays, right?
So very similar in tenor, in that Billy's a wonderful show. Mm-hmm. My God, it's a great show. And he talks about his father a lot. I roamed around on adventures I had, on things that affected me, loves and hates, and some of the shows I've been on.
Billy's filmed his too, so now you've filmed yours. Yeah, Billy's filmed his. Where are you going to be on April 24th? Are you going to go to a movie?
I'm going to go to a theater somewhere and hide in the audience and see what effect.
Because you haven't seen it on film, have you?
I've edited. I've had it edited, but I don't like to look at myself. Do you look at yourself?
I don't know. I don't.
I mean, I can't stand it.
Do you always feel that way?
I did, and now that I look, every so often I catch a glimpse of myself at the age of 25 or 30. Holy cats! I should have appreciated what I looked like then. You know? And so every age, I don't want to look back. I don't look at this. I don't have pictures of myself around the house. I don't look at the shows I've done.
How have you? You're 83, right?
Yeah.
I'm 80. How have you handled aging? You have no alternative.
With both hands. Aging. The thing about aging for me, and I'd be interested to compare notes with you, is the real. See, we all wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to the thought of dying. Everybody says, I wonder what's that going to be, and then you don't think about it anymore. But the older you get, the more you think about dying.
I think about it all the time.
Okay.
Not all the time, but a lot of the time.
90% of the time. Okay, so how does it affect what you do? How does it affect your behavior? Does it, in your case, make you fearful and not go someplace?
No.
Or do you say, I'm going to die soon, I better do this now?
I do things, right. I have the fear, but I go to the event.
Okay, so what about relationships?
I have friends for a lifetime. I have my wife, I have my kids. I have young kids. That helps.
But it's also tiresome.
Yeah, but it hurts a little too.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get up.
I want to be around when they're playing ball or college.
From that, and you're not going to be around.
Probably not.
Does sickness make you feel bad?
I haven't been sick.
But does the prospect of things?
We both these are two Jews fearful here.
No, but every human being must feel this way, but nobody talks about it. No, so I talk about death. You know, but funny.
But you know who doesn't feel about that? People who believe in the afterlife. If you believe in the afterlife, they coast.
Right. They can't wait.
My wife got married to a Mormon. They can't wait to die.
Can't wait to go, yeah.
I don't want that.
No, don't go. I tell you, don't go because you don't know.
Correct. I'd like to be frozen. That's
not going to help.
Yeah, but it's
going to be cold. It's cold.
Up next, Bill's tip on mastering the internet. The great William Shatner. Stay with us. Our guest is William Shatner. What's it like? Shatner's World. You'll see it in movie theaters. Check the movie theater near you or check fathomevents.com. Now you got another book coming out called Hire Yourself.
Exactly.
It's based on your own experience on the internet. You have 1.8 million followers on Twitter. I have 2.6 million, I think. We have millions of
who's
Twitter.
Counting? Who's
counting? What is the book about? Hire Yourself.
The unemployment rate has come down, but not so much for people over 55. People over 55 aren't hired because they expect more, but of course they give more. So the bottom line in the businesses are, we'll pay some kid who won't do as good a job, but we're paying them less. One of the answers to that is use your expertise and advertise it. And
use the internet.
And use the internet to advertise.
But a lot of people over 55 resist the internet, right?
We don't know anything about it.
Correct.
I mean, how do you do it? How do you get on it? These telephones? I got a watch here. I don't know how to operate it. It's a technological advanced watch.
Oh, I don't know how to operate it. I have a regular watch.
See, you're old-fashioned. The internet is not that complicated, but you have to give yourself over to the change, to the.
I resist that. I'm on the internet. I love what it's. I love this show. I love doing it.
Right.
But mastering it, like the thing, I don't.
Okay, so you have people do it for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's available to everybody. The simplicity of getting on and the act of staying on is really very simple. Yeah. Essentially, it's ABC. It's just that it seems so mysterious. You know. There's a 15-year. Right. I know a 15-year-old who can take a computer apart. I don't know how a computer works. Do you?
No idea.
What is it attached to? How does it get its signal? How does it know? How can you ask, what's the capital of, and get an answer?
And a voice tells you.
Yeah, it is. The capital is. Where did that come from?
How do they do that?
How do they do that? So this book seeks to explain how technically how to do that.
So you know how to do it.
I know people who know how to do it.
And they help you with the book.
They will help me. They have helped me give you the technique, the technology, and how to use that technology to use.
What do you make of all these kids with I got 15 and 14-year-old.
Right, they're never off the phone.
They don't talk to you, by the way.
No, not only that.
They don't talk to you.
Okay, so you talked about tweeting and Twitter and Twitter. So you got 2,400,000. You're reaching them with 148, 149 characters, right? You tell go watch my show. I sat at a table about this size last week, 3 kids. One's a 12-year-old, one's a 14-year-old, the other's a 16-year-old kid. Their father was over there. They didn't know who I was. I didn't know who they were. The event I was at, everybody knew who those kids were. And you know why?
Why?
They were on Vine.
What's that?
An app in which you film 6 seconds. It's Larry King, 6 jump, and that's on the air. So from 148 characters, which itself is no communication, they don't talk like you and I are talking and laugh and say, look at the little smiley eyes and talk about death, and they don't do that. It's, LOL. Why can't you say laughing out loud? It's such a lovely sound.
I know.
Laughing out loud is a beautiful sound. LOL is ugly.
Why do they do that?
Why do they do that? Because it's 148 characters. That's now disappearing, and you're into 6 seconds.
I want to ask you about something you get serious about.
I'm serious about 6 seconds.
UN just issued a report saying the governments are not doing enough to fight climate change. You're big on that, right?
Big.
This was a great year to prove climate change.
Well,
right?
there's no proof. There's no proof necessary. 40 years ago, 50 years ago now, Rachel Carson wrote a book called Silent Spring. I read it, and I was terrified. You talk about anticipating dying. How about your kids, your 14-year-old kid is not going to be able to live the way we're living in the next few years.
Will he breathe?
Eat, breathe, drink water.
Yeah.
It's all bad. It's worse than you think. That's how bad it is. With this recent report, it's really bad. It's worse than that.
Al Gore was right.
Al Gore was right, and he was late. Okay? There is a terrible, terrible situation. It isn't just coal, and it isn't just mercury, and it isn't just the shale in Texas that are people in Texas are making millions of dollars on the mineral rights of their land, and they're dying. They've got emphysema. You know what it's like to die? I have a friend of mine who's dying of emphysema.
I've seen.
And you're can't catch my breath. Go to bed at night. You go to bed at night. You put your head down. That's what emphysema is.
Are we giving up hope? Can we help it?
If you do something now, but nobody's doing it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody says what I'm saying. Nobody talks about it with this fervor. Who was the last person you said, damn it, it's terrible? When was the last time you heard that?
Not much.
Not much.
Coming up, we're talking about Star Trek and Bill's new sci-fi novel. That's right. We'll be right back. We're back with William Shatner. Don't forget Shatner's World, his one-man show. It was on Broadway. It was a big hit. He's toured with it. You can see it in a movie theater near you, April 24th. To check out where, go to fathomevents.com. Simple as that, Fathom Events.
Or shatnersworldcinema.com, which will lead you to Fathom Events. Shatnersworldcinema.com.
What is Wacky Doodle?
Wacky Doodle is I've directed and written 10 documentaries. This is the latest documentary. There was an insanity that went on in the first 2 years of the making of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I remember.
The leading writer, producer, on camera says, it was all wacky doodle. So I'm calling it Wacky Doodle. Even had a song written, Wacky Doodle, for the.
It's the story of Star Trek and
of the first 2 years of the making of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Of the making of it, or the fans following it?
No, the making of it. The craziness that went on.
Making it?
Crazy making it. The different policies, the people who had different ideas, who couldn't follow. Gene Roddenberry said, "There's no conflict in 2400. There's no conflict." And the writer said, "What do you mean? Drama is conflict?" No, everybody gets along, and so they had to write a show with no conflict. And
Gene Roddenberry, I interviewed him.
Did you?
He was morally, he was ahead of his time. Don't you think?
It depends what you mean.
Well, all stories had a moral equation in Star Trek, didn't they?
A great many of them.
Don't you think he was making political statements?
Absolutely.
Did you not like him?
I didn't know him very well. He was cool, removed, but he was a complex man. And this is what my documentary examines at great length.
Was the show a major hit? Was it? I don't.
Star Trek: The Next Generation went on for 7 years. It was the first show in syndication. It was a huge hit, and the actors were huge stars. The actors were wonderful. Everybody was wonderful. But the first 2 years had an insanity that I document.
Insanity, you call it?
Absolutely.
Did the actors get along?
Oh, the actors got along. It was none of the actors, with the exception of Patrick Stewart, are in the documentary. It's all the craziness that went on during the production of trying to get a story written and produced was crazy, and that's what I document.
You're writing a sci-fi novel about UFOs?
Yes.
Why the hesitation, William?
Well, because the hesitation is this. Do you remember a man by the name of Johnny Mack?
Johnny Mack, why is that?
Johnny Mack was a psychiatrist, tenured professor at Harvard, was given by a friend of his the opportunity to interview some of the people who said, we've been abducted by UFOs. After 200 interviews, he concluded they were right. He lost...
They were abducted.
That's his conclusion. And he almost lost his tenure at Harvard. His wife and he lost his wife and children over it. And he walks out of the door not too long after that, and he's hit by a hit-and-run driver and killed. His conclusion was UFOs are on another plane, another reality. They may not be the meteors we see that we think are UFOs. They may be in microphysics, sometimes the act of observing brings about the event. Are you aware of that?
I got it. I'm not aware of it.
Right. So there may be a photon of light that doesn't exist, that suddenly comes into existence while you're examining it, and then goes off in another direction and ceases to exist. There's the principle being that there is such a mystery of what we puny human beings have no knowledge of. There are other universes. We think that the limits of light is what there is, so that the universe is 13.5 billion years old. And what happened before 13.6 billion years?
So you're writing a novel about this?
Well,
what are you doing?
The concept that if the UFOs may be products of another reality, that leads you into a mystery.
So you're writing about it?
Right.
Do you think there are UFOs?
Why are you hesitating, Bill? What I didn't see Johnny Mack ask in the readings that I've done, maybe I got more to do, is what are they doing? Why have they abducted the secretary over at Universal and examined her and taken an egg and fertilized it and got a hybrid?
Why haven't they abducted a president?
That's the question. Why don't they just display? You know, which is the question you ask about God. Why doesn't Jehovah is here? You know,
where?
Well, so why don't they display? And what is the intent? If they're not displaying, if they're hiding, and they get this guy in a swamp in Florida.
Why do they go to Casper Springs, Wyoming?
Right,
and they don't go to New York City?
Because Casper has got a capital C. You don't know. That's crazy. Why do they do that? If there's an intention, if they've had the intelligence that there's little green men, little gray men with big almanac here. So are they a product of us? There's a mystery here. Yes. When a mind like Johnny Mack can say, this happened, there's too much community in these people who've said they've been abducted, there's too much emotional baggage, something is happening. What is it? That's the question. So do UFOs exist? It depends on what you mean exist.
Bill, we'll take your questions after the break. Plus, we're going to do a little brown bag wine tasting. We'll be right back. Don't forget Shatner's World in theaters April 24th. Go to fathomevents.com or
Shatner's World Cinema.com.
Cinema.com. We have wine here. We'll explain that a little later. We have brown bag. We have things. But first, a couple of other things. You're a longtime horseman. You talk to horses, right? Is that true?
Yes, I talk to horses.
You also talk to your dogs,
not,
true?
Absolutely, but not verbally. There's a
Mime.
nonverbal language. It doesn't have to be the mind, Larry. It can be.
Oh, I see. Stop. Do you think
No, that's come.
Do you think dogs talk to each other?
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
You watch them. They're speaking. Like, get away from me. What do you got there? I mean, there's a continual conversation. Every animal talks to every one of its animals, and much interspecies language as well. A horse talks to a dog, and a dog talks to a horse. I've seen it.
Okay, now we have some social media questions for you. At Pasla Dezume tweets, I'd be interested to know what your favorite vacation spot is.
I love Hawaii.
And how do you unwind?
You break the mainspring and send it out for repair.
At Andrew Carden 78 tweets, do Trekkies drive you nuts?
No, they drive me to the event, actually.
What do you think? Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
At Clayton Train says, I think you should talk about your shared love for Craig Ferguson. Both of you are consistently his best guests. I love Craig Ferguson.
I love Craig Ferguson.
He wasn't going to get 11:30, though. He's too esoteric.
You know, I was on the other day, and I opened by saying, it should have been you.
Yeah, it should have been, but it wouldn't. He got $5 million, so.
For what?
His contract with Letterman is if
he
didn't get the
reply.
show, he got $5 million.
He's a wonderful talent.
And a great guy.
Yeah, and a great guy.
The best. At Everett J.D. Zib via Instagram, how was visiting your Boston legal pal in the blacklist? Or how about bringing back Denny Crane to The Good Wife?
Well, I love James.
He's unbelievable.
He's a wonderful actor. He's great, and he's a great guy. I love him. I missed the Boston Legal. There was a wonderful cast. I loved the cast. You hear people say that, but
Great writing.
Great writing, and James Spader is a wonderful actor, a wonderful fellow.
You like The Blacklist?
Yeah.
Good show.
Yeah.
And finally, Dave Dowling, why haven't you stood up as a candidate for Prime Minister of Canada for the Liberal or NDP political party?
Politics.
Yeah. You're a citizen of Canada, right? You never become an American citizen.
No.
Why not, Bill Shatner?
Because I'm afraid to, because people like you point at me.
Okay. All right, let's discuss brown bag wine. What is the premise? How does this all start?
All right. So, Larry,
Where did it start? Where is it now?
Just an idea. Okay? I like to talk to people, but getting people to open up is very difficult. So in an interview show that I did, I filmed it, and we extracted 22 minutes over the half hour out of an hour and a half of talking. The first 15, 20 minutes is drop your mask.
Right.
I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I said, do you like wine?
I do red wine.
Okay, here's red wine.
Good
and
for the heart.
And Terry, there's a little wine there. You don't have to drink it all, or else you can have a second glass. Yeah. Okay. So, what an entree to anybody, people on the street. I'm doing people on the street as well as celebrities. Larry King, my friend, taste this wine, but before you do, I want you to describe it in broadcasting terms. I don't want vanilla overtones and legs and stuff like that.
And why is it a brown bag? Why
because I'm going to ask you to judge it, give it a number, and see how with the wine.
You want me to do this?
Wine magazine. See if the wine magazine agrees.
Salud.
Salud.
This wine is impactful. This wine, you know, it hits you. This wine is driven. This wine is serious. It's not great, but it's you know it's there. Now, when you say in broadcasting terms,
well, that's good.
You want me to do it like play-by-play?
No. Why does wine attract you? What is it about wine that you like?
My doctor, because I had heart attack and heart surgery years ago, told me it's a very good idea in the life of a human male over the age of 50 to have a glass of red wine, maybe once a day. So I don't drink at home, but whenever I go out to dinner, I will have 2 glasses of...
he said one, Larry. Why are you...
Yeah, but I have 2 because I got to like
yesterday
it.
you didn't
I
have
used
one.
it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My wine, my kid, was Manischewitz. Concord grape. I love it because that's what I had in the house. Concord Manischewitz.
Okay, so wait a minute. That's great. So you had Manischewitz wine in the house because folks didn't have a lot of money, and Manischewitz was a cheap
wine. But it
wine.
tasted good to me.
Of course. So were you embarrassed by the fact that you had Manischewitz?
No, I was
You were
proud.
Proud that your dad...
Correct.
Good. Okay, so now we're talking using wine as an insertion into the conversation.
Got it.
I would now further this conversation about your dad and the thing, drinking the wine.
I see.
Give this a number. What number is this wine, in your opinion, from 85 to 95, because that's the wine magazine thing? What number would you give this complex wine?
90.
So it's pretty good, but not great.
Right.
Wine.com Wilfred Wong gives this wine 93. Close. So this pairs well with veal, pork, game, and rich fish. I never met a rich fish I didn't like.
Keep talking.
Dried strawberry and sweet earth. That's the dried strawberry and sweet earth taste.
Excellent. Now I'm going to give you something to taste. I know you're a bagel man from Montreal.
I am a bagel man.
This is from Brooklyn Water Bagel on Beverly Drive.
Did you have to
Beverly
finger
Hills.
everybody? I don't know where your fingers have been.
Oh, stop it.
Am I going to taste this?
Yes, you are going to taste it.
Are you going to taste it?
I'll have a piece too. This is an everything
This is
bagel.
really intimate. Fondling our food and passing it between us. It's like our forefathers did it.
That is a good bagel.
This is 93 right here.
This is a good bagel.
This is a good bagel. Right
Describe
now.
this bagel as if you were a Shakespearean character.
This wounds me. You does betray me. It is salt in my wounds. I shall chew upon this rage and spit out.
Thou hast
the enmity.
bespoken to me of greatness. Thanks to my guest, Bill Shatner. Shatner's World is in theaters April 24th for one night only. Go to fathomevents.com for tickets, or go to William Shatner's World.
Shatner'sWorldCinema.com.
And you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and we'll see you next time. What ho?
What ho?
What ho?